And so, folks, this is how we will come to the end of another edition of the Hour of Politics. Liberia needs a leader, bold, fearless, who is ready to fight for the soul of this country. The person does not have to show muscles, but the ideas of that leader must be bold. For the issues are serious, for we are in the deepest hole of all. Everything in Liberia is in shambles. Look, folks, when I hear a leader speak, I listen to what they are saying, not the eloquence, like the eloquence of Louis Brown. It entertains me. I wish I had that power when it comes to using the English language. I wish I had it. If I had it, I would move the war. I would move Liberia in a positive direction. But eloquence will not get us to the promised land. Oh, of course not. Eloquence will not get us to the promised land. What will get us there is a leader with bold ideas who is ready to take the fight to those who are plundering the state. It's that leader, Alice Benedict Cummings, where they say we can't be doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. And yes, he appoints his so-called real change, and the individuals don't look like people with the credentials and records of real change. Cummings continues to tell us he believes in delivering results and that he is from result-driven arena. Oh, that couldn't be so right. And so when you are from a result-driven arena that is structured, where things are done in a coordinated fashion, then you must bring those values where decisions are made in the best interest, where decision becomes examples for others to follow. Then you must come with those examples. But what we've seen over and over is the man who says we cannot be doing the same thing over and over and expect different results, and yet does the same thing over and over and expect different results. The journey of the CPP was just one example. Rolling with Yeke Koloba is another example. The appointment of this so-called real change could not be a profound and disappointing example of it all. Calling a press conference to tell us about political bureaucrats while the nation is engulfed with crisis for rice shortage. And then he gives a press conference to tell us about the likes of Yeke Koloba, the likes of Daniel Chie, the like of Toka Gateway McIntosh, Julia Duncan Kasser, a cash cow of corruption. And this is it. This is the real change. How in any shape and form, this is not doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Mr. Cummings, this, the ANCers, this, and they must recalibrate if they are to get this thing right for our country, Liberia. And I've been thinking, if the argument is that these are Liberians, we have to work with them, then be like Cummings Jesus, who, when the argument came before him about this lady, who they said, if I'm not mistaken, about adultery, and they were trying to stone her because they said she had committed a crime. Cummings Jesus said, and I quote, "He who have not sinned should be the first to throw a stone." And when the self-reflected, they realized they too were sinners, and that woman deserved compassion. And so she was giving compassion. And so if Mr. Cummings is having an argument, If he has a reason, let him present the argument. Let us not just fold these people in our throats. And that is the debate I'm making. That is the debate I'm making. But when your appointed team members resemble the team members of President Weah, then you are no different. When we look on Weah side, we see Eugene Namwe, who was with MPFL, MPP, and now here's our guy that President Weah is giving us. When we look on Weah side, we see Joelle Howard Taylor, the queen of MPFL, and she became the queen of MPP, a vicious political and rebel group that desecrated the Republic of Liberia. That is the person the so-called country giant chose, and Mr. Cummings goes to work and does the same thing. Weah gives us a charge bright and appointed him as so-called prime minister, that he has the power to fire and do just about anything. We arose with Prince Johnson, the murderer of the First Order. We arose with Edwin Snow, Charles Taylor's former son-in-law, who was so powerful. He's on Weah's side. We are crying. We are complaining that these individuals should not be the faces of this country called Liberia, for we have gone through too much. Cummings comes and say he is the man of change, that he's giving a real change team, and the characters that he named are a complete replica of what Joshua is giving us. So I beg the question, where is the real change he's talking about? Is it change of more of the same, or actually real change? And I conclude to say real change my foot. I know what real change is when I see one. Real change has the faces of people with impeccable character. Real change has the faces of people with a track record of delivering results. People who past performances show that they will be able to perform again. That's the reason why when one applies for a job, there is something called background check. There's something called interview. So as to know what has been this person's record. Human behavior becomes a pattern. What I know to do is what I will do wherever you put me. There's a common Liberian parable that says, monkey will never leave a black hand behind. You think Edwin Snow has changed? You think Eugene Namwe has changed? You think Joelle Howard Taylor has changed? They are in a government that is condemned, corrupt, that has been sanctioned. Just as the one they served in under Charles Taylor was condemned, corrupt, and there was an economic embargo. So how will the Cummings government be different when these people he's asking to make him president will have to be in his government? Is he going to make them to behave well? That is what we were told by Aloysius Stowe, who is the current Secretary General of the opposition ANC. Aloysius Stowe told me on this platform that they were going to change Benny Nayure. And so they were making the right judgment for joining the CPP. It was their very Benny Nayure that sued Mr. Cummings and told him to go and drag his reputation in a court of law. And that CPP went into tatters. The hopes of Liberians went under the toilet, and today some people have this. They believe that Joshua can become president because the opposition destroyed what was hopeful for the Liberian people. Folks, we know what we are saying when we speak. Don't listen to the yelling we do. We want a better country. Cummings can give us that better country. I don't doubt it. But I have doubts when he acts in this manner. Because what he's doing now is what he will do when he becomes president. Joshua is doing what he did when he was not in government. So don't get this twisted. Don't tell me his decisions will be different when he becomes president. Joshua's decisions are not different today because that's all he was when he was not in government. I hope you got it now. And so I will have to leave now. For this yelling does not carry Liberia anywhere. Cummings is right. We have to do the work to change Liberia. Let us do the work, but with the right people who have the record and character to get things done in the right way. It cannot be done with the wrong people, with bad experiences. It cannot and will not be done with those people. Joshua is not able to bring war crime code today because of Prince Johnson, because of the lives of Edwin Sword and many people, and Joel Howard Taylor. In fact, in Joel Howard Taylor's own words, we do not need a war crime code for Liberia. On code, when we do, it will have a ripple effect on this country because according to her, in her eloquence, we are interconnected. The interconnectedness of our country. Seriously? How a lawyer speaks with such ignorance that one who is accused should not have a date in court to exonerate themselves, and she calls herself a lawyer, and this is the person who advises Judge. No wonder why we will never get to the war crime court under this government. This is the same thing Cummings is doing. So my doubts remain profound that his decisions that have become questionable and hence question will be the very decision he makes when he comes to government. And so, folks, I have to leave. I can't win the debate on day one, but I've already won the debate. The song says we are all Liberians. Cummings is a Liberian. He must be a Liberian that gets it right. He cannot be a Liberian Joshua who does not get it right. He cannot be the Liberian Ellen Johnson Sally who did not get it right. We want a Liberian who will get it right. We don't know who's going to be president. So when they speak, we hold them accountable to get the right thing done. Until I see you again, I'm leaving you with this debate, and the debate continues. The song says we are all Liberians. A guy like me who is in the business of pushing cartoon got to go and push it now. Thank you. Enjoy the song. We are all Liberians, and indeed we are. Bye-bye.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia, we want. Liberia, Liberia, we want. Liberia,